if I break it down in phases for you, right? So
Yeah.
the different things you need obviously is what is the problem, what is the cause of the problem. Generally, you'll get an understanding of how long the problem's been going on, but the actual concern, if the problem continues, that's going to give you essentially the big root of why they actually need to solve this or why they need to fix this logical portion, right? So reveal the root is basically, this whole piece is basically a logical piece where you're essentially getting everything out to logically understand their current situation. So why they're here, what they've actually tried, and also after that, what is the core problem and what is the concern if it continues, right? So reveal the root is just to find out what is the core problem. Okay, so you're just figuring out the core problem. That's it. All right.
Yeah.
So, like, if you one sentence, the core problem, reframe the gap. What is the purpose of that?
Yeah, I have it up. I mean, I have it right here next to me. That I mean, that's part of why doing it yourself doesn't work, right? Um,
Yeah. So it's
you,
finding
you
out
need
why they
help.
can't continue to do it on their own. Yep. Getting them to say why they need help. Okay. And then outline the dream. What's the purpose of that?
What the future's going to look like if you get it done.
Okay. I'll accept that. Okay. And then after that, risk of the future. What's the point of that?
Yeah, what's if you continue to go in the same path, what's going to happen, right? What does it look like?
Okay.
Nothing's changed.
That's all you need to retain is the purpose. So purpose-based questioning. Even if you don't have a form of scripting up, if you can ask questions that lead to that natural result to where you understand why the person is here, what they've tried, what their core problem is, why they can't do it on their own, what is their dream outcome if this problem was solved, and also what is at risk if they don't solve the problem, right? So then you should have everything you need. Very high likelihood of closing. If you can answer all of those questions yourself, you understand all of those different phases. Okay. That's all you're trying to retain is the purpose behind the questions, not the questions. Does that make sense?
It makes it so much easier, right? I'm so
Mm-hmm.
focused on every detail. Focus
Don't,
on
yeah, I wouldn't stress over the details. Just stress over understanding how to think through the conversation, right? Understand when I make the diaphragm, the point of that is to give you an understanding of how to think through things, right? Where you need to actually take them and the areas you need to get extremely specific on. And if you notice the front pieces are kind of flat, right? Because that's again contextual information. The bottom pieces and reveal the root. Yes, you can look at it as emotional depth, but you only gain emotional depth by asking specific questions or getting very specific on their core problem and helping them to understand that, right? So that's why on that graph at the bottom, it's the deepest part of it because I want you to get specific with them on what the core issue is and what's the concern if they don't solve it. And then when you're on the uptrend, I want you to get very specific in terms of their dream outcome, right? What is the dream outcome they have of what they actually want to achieve? Okay. Once you get that, you go back down a little bit and risk of the future. You get in detail what happens if you don't actually change this and you don't actually achieve that future we just talked about, because now something's at risk. They feel they have something to lose because they just talked about everything they would gain as an aspect of solving the problem. So now they have something to lose and risk of the future, and that's what you're bringing out there. And then secure the yes is just a commitment, right? So are you ready to be the person who does XYZ? That's it. So it's just a last identity frame before you go into the pitch. Okay. So
yeah,
again, you're not here to memorize questions. You're literally here to just understand, have a conversation, and understand. If you can understand those six parts of it, okay, just take out the S, look at the mirror portion. If you can understand those pieces, you're going to convert a lot higher because you'll know how to think. You'll know how to talk to someone. And generally, sometimes you don't even need to ask, you don't need to ask all of the questions to get the end result. So it's not a thing where you need to ask every single question that I say you should ask. It's more so I need to ask until I get the specific answer that I'm looking for.
Real quick before you go, if anything I just said hit, you'll like what I'm about to tell you. There's a public leaderboard live right now where closers are racing to double their cash collected in 14 days. They get real trophies. Public ranks a $1,000 cash prize every month for the closer at the top. The math is simple. Take your last 14 days of cash collected and beat it. Closer doubling from 5K cash collected in the last 14 days to 10K. It's the same tier as a closer doubling from 50K to 100K. So you get the same trophy, the same recognition, and you're never in the wrong weight class because it's based off of your ability to grow. So it's free to join, it's free to learn, and it's free to start growing today. The link is in the description. Click join, and I will see you on the board.